Cool. I thought I might just post this again. It's been a while since I've shared my weekend analysis, so even though I've made the Monday market breakdown already, here's the Sunday market sort of analysis. So through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, came to the conclusion that these are the pairs that I'm going to have. Essentially all I do is I kind of have it on Notion, which the link is in the description as well for Notion, and essentially I just put them together in here. Let me just lock this so I don't mess with the template. So it's all in here. So I have basically all my pairs that's on main watch, and then I have the wildcards. For example, if I'm looking at the DXY, it would pretty much be here, and then it will have my analysis. So these are the structures that I'm looking at, and then you know, potentially I'm looking for a short in this region. Of course, ideally I'm not looking to go short at this point, just because, you know, it's from here to here. I believe it was like 1% or something, so it wasn't something of interest to me. I am looking more so for the counter long, so hopefully there'll be a counter long position in here, and then I'll put my analysis down here. It would make sense for the DXY to create a larger flag on the high time frame to form continuation to the downside and so forth. So it wouldn't make sense for people who don't trade this particular way, but for people who do trade this strategy, they would fully understand what I'm talking about. GBP Aussie, yeah, more so just kind of going into analysis. So this is the override, looking at the pullback, and then we zoom into the lower time frame. As we can see, there's a small correction here, seeing this to push up further, and then the beginning of the larger run. So this could just be the smaller correction for the go, and then yeah, I'm not looking to get involved. So smaller correction got involved in this area here, but even so, that's basically how you look to take it, and then put the notes in here. So the override 1 and so forth. Same goes on for this one. I was looking at the 1, 2, 3 leading up to the trend line. We had the push away correction, and then we're getting some rejection. However, if the GBP Aussie is going up, you know, we could bet our bucks that this will go as well. So by preparing myself over the weekend and doing this, it enables me to be more prepared for the week ahead. So I spend a lot less time having to dedicate time at the charts, because all I need to do is essentially look for my entry, take my entry, and mitigate my risk, and then let the trade play out. It's as simple as that. So I've really planned way ahead in advance. Australian dollar, this one's pretty good. I mean, I'm looking for the 1, 2, 3 leading up. At the moment, we can see that it's correctively just kept on squeezing lower. It can sell off. You know, there's more than so yeah. And yeah, there's the variation. So we could get an expanding, we could get this 1, 2, 3 leading up, or we could get the push down on a flag, which is looking like it's possible now. But as you can see, I didn't forecast that. I'm aware of it. It was one of the variations, didn't just include it in here. So, you know, when you are taking these trades, you know, you have to spend a bit of time on the weekends, or whenever you are doing it midweek, and then just making sure that, you know, you've mapped out your variations. And then if something happens that you weren't ready for, then you need to ask yourself, should I take it? Because it's not in my plan, but is there enough time for me to plan in preparation to take something? Because a rush decision is usually a bad decision. So something I've learned is that, you know, take time with everything. If you miss it, you miss it. There'll be more opportunity on the way down, of course, or up. GBP US dollar, this one's looking solid. We have a near miss up here. We've had a nice solid push up, aggressive pull movement now on the weekly. It looks like we are going to potentially have a small pullback down before we go up. So I am looking at this to potentially pull back down before we go higher. Is it possible that we could tap in here and then come all the way lower to here? Absolutely, that's a very strong possibility, because we have a nice little scoop, corrective squeeze here, corrective move up. Do we correctively carry on and tap into this and then sell and then come back up? There's a lot of possibilities, but this is the sort of longer term target zone I'm looking for, but it can take a long time till we get there. It could even be the whole year. So I'm also looking at the correction here and how I can position myself to go in for that longer term long, and that will be a really nice position as well. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD is looking solid, honestly, on the daily. Phenomenal, nice little bearish candle there, followed by this sort of correction. Now this was actually the one that's just been correcting, so it's somewhere down here now, which is completely fine, because we've literally broke below this line here, which is where I wanted to see price. Now if price can just kind of correct corrections down here, I'll be looking to go short and continue to the downside. If we can pull back up here, then, you know, it's one I'll evaluate, just because it's a little bit more messier than it was originally. So as you can see, I was looking for that that sort of section, pull back up to the override. Not so much the 1, 2, 3, it was just there, happened to line up, but looking for price to come back up here for the sell. Didn't quite get it. It is what it is. Euro USD, similar price action, just got a little squeeze. Potentially we might get a 1, 2, 3 leading up and then a sell off. In line with the DXY, as we saw, looking for that larger correction. So, I've marked on these override zones. Could we potentially pull to override 3? Possibility, but we have override 2 and 1 to also be aware of. GBP yen, I really like this structure. So we see on the higher time frame that we have the 1, 2, we have the larger correction push down, and now we're having another larger correction. To the end of the structure of this larger correction, we're having a structured approach, which I'm looking for. So if we can get that 1, 2, 3, that would be very nice. It may develop further and become a little bit more messier, but I'll be looking at the approach to that 01 section, and then after we get that push down and the flag, that's where I'll be looking to get involved. Looking on New Zealand yen, we have similar price action. However, the higher time frames do point up higher, but we can come lower before we do go higher. We are in that final run, but this can get very messy and corrective. So, it doesn't have to move traditionally the way we always see it. It can still come lower. So as we can see, we're in this price pattern here, and within there now we can see that we have this structure here. It can get corrective, tap in here, come down and then go up. It doesn't have to. It can even drop down to this low, and then we start seeing it climb its way back up. So like I said, there's a lot of opportunity, but there's a potential short on the table for this, and if the short is presented by a strong impulse and a correction here, I'll be looking to get involved to the downside, and then eventually getting for the long. Now USD yen, I think I've said this countless amount of times, phenomenal price structures. Honestly, if you take your time and analyze this, you can really get a lot out of it. As we can see, currently we're in this potential 1, 2, 3. Drawing this line isn't what I'm exactly looking for. I'm just looking for some sort of leading up structure to lead to this. Right now it's being very corrective, impulse, correction, continuation to that side. If we can tap into this, bearing in mind we have that high just above, we could impulse up, tap into that and then sell off, or we might reject from here. Two little areas, but then the price target will be down here, and there's amazing risk reward for that, so that's all good to go. And that's basically what I had planned for Sunday. Like I said, it did take a couple hours, but then again it was better because sometimes you want to spend that much time just planning and making sure you have all of this on point. So that's basically it for my Sunday market breakdown there. Hope you have a good week.